In today's news, we're looking at the Performance Model 3 and the much anticipated upgrades coming with the refresh and much more. The original Model 3 was first announced in July of 2017, marking roughly 7 years since the mass production vehicle was available. This was the first true electric long-range vehicle available to the market that wasn't just another Tesla Model S. The supercharging network was a game changer. It was developed enough where you were able to take a road trip from coast to coast without any range anxiety, and this was the major factor into purchasing an EV at that time. Aside from the superchargers itself, the vehicle was comfortable, it was quiet, it felt very premium for its time, and overall a revolutionary vehicle. But truly, the highlight of this vehicle is its quickness and responsiveness, especially in the 0 to 60s. It was truly an unrivaled vehicle at that time, and all other manufacturers were trying to catch up to it. Ever since this vehicle was first introduced up on stage, every other performance manufacturers were struggling to get vehicles out that were on the same performance level. Performance subdivisions from BMW, Mercedes, just to name a few, were struggling to get an internal combustion vehicle out onto the market that was just competitive enough. In terms of raw numbers, there was nothing that can get to 3.1 seconds 0 to 60 at that time. And according to Elon Musk, it was 15% quicker, better handling, and will beat anything in its class on track. This is an amazing feat on any standard, and it set a benchmark for every other manufacturer to look at. Now flash forward to today, things have changed quite drastically. EVs are everywhere, left and right. It's hard to go through an intersection without seeing the majority of them being an electric vehicle. Now the same can't be said for everywhere around the world just yet, but this is where it's trending, and I can't wait until we see it happen. With all that being said, in the past few years, companies have caught up in terms of real world range and performance. There are trucks, SUVs, and even sedans that now accelerate in astounding numbers, beating out even the new Model 3s. So this led to Tesla introducing the new mind-blowing Plaid powertrain, and this literally wiped every single vehicles out of its class. In late 2021, when the Plaid powertrain was first introduced, it was literally the quickest and one of the fastest accelerating vehicles in the world. It goes from 0 to 60 in 1.99 seconds. That is mind-blowing. This is all thanks to the carbon sleeved rotors, which is in the Model S's and Model X's right now. What's special about these rotors is it can maintain acceleration and torque up to its max speed. There is no second gear needed, and there is no trickery needed. This is literally just a vehicle that accelerates from 0 to 200 without even a hiccup. This finally leads us on to the news of the upcoming Model 3 Highland ludicrous performance model. Ever since the introduction of the Model 3 refresh from China, we have been looking forward to and anticipating the release of the performance model. There has been some speculations, leaks, and renders, but nothing has been confirmed until just a few days ago. Danial Ho, an Australian chief engineer that was in charge of the announcement of the Model 3 Highland, has provided some information purely on the Model 3 performance coming up. A video was posted recently of Danial Ho explaining the differences between the old Model 3 design versus the new upgraded Model 3. And according to him, the Model 3 performance variant is going to be introduced early next year. Tesla has said that during the introduction of the Performance Model 3, they had a few things that were left on the table. This was in part because of what Elon Musk described as production hell, where everything was coming off the line but being built in tents for the very first part of deliveries. What this indicates is that there was so much more potential with the original Model 3 Performance that was left on the table and was never realized. All the priorities was set to the mass production of the Model 3 and to the rest of the trims. And what Tesla has said with this updated Model 3 Highland is that they are going to finally bring everything to the table and leave nothing else behind. Now, of course, no numbers or figures were stated, but we can expect a much quicker 0 to 60, possibly in the sub 3 seconds using the same carbon sleeve rotors seen in the Model S and X. What's more important with these carbon sleeved rotors is not just the 0 to 60s, but from the 60s to 100 and the 100 to 200. it will get from there all the way to max speed without taking a breath. This is something that the current Model 3 Performance is unable to do. Anything outside of the Model S and X drops off in performance right when it hits around 70 miles per hour. Now there has been some internal leaks of the supposed ludicrous model, and this was confirmed through the recent leaks of badges in the service manual. This, tied with the sub 3 seconds 0 to 60, really makes it possible, as the original Model S Ludicrous had a sub 3 second 0 to 60 as well. So if all this comes true, they will be back up to being the benchmark vehicle in the sedan segment once again. Now there is quite a bit of changes that is going to be coming to this performance model. If every one of these things checks off, this is going to be one of the most substantial upgrade ever in any performance model. I'll drop an image right here. You guys can run through each one of them and tell me what's important to you guys in your performance model and what's not. And in terms of price range, where are we looking at if all of these get included? So all in all, in my opinion, if you guys were planning to pick up a Model 3 Performance anytime in the next couple months, I would say wait out for the new refresh Highland, just because they will be packing quite a punch when it does come out. Now in terms of price point, I have no doubts that this is going to be a more expensive vehicle than the current Model 3s available. The reason to all this is the expansive list of changes that they are making. This is not simply just a souped up Model 3 long range. This is going to be a bunch of hardware and software changes, and this is confirmed directly from Tesla. Another thing to keep in mind too is that the Model 3 standard range and the long range is now software limited to 201 kilometers per hour. This is due to the choice of low acoustic tires, whereas the performance model, the ludicrous model that is upcoming, is going to have some very different performance oriented tires, and the top speed may go much higher than that. So keep that in mind, and if for some reason you want to go much faster than that, or you live in Germany and you hit the Autobahn quite often, the Model 3 Highland Performance Ludicrous is going to be one of those vehicles that you really want to take a look at before anything else. So of course I am going to hold my excitement at least until we get some real figures from Tesla, but I am very excited to see for the very first time Tesla is going to differentiate between the performance model versus all the other trims. I wonder if they are going to apply this same idea to the Model S and X and the rest of the lineup in the future as well. So there you guys have it. Other than the Cybertruck, this may be the most exciting car of this year. So I will keep a lookout for literally every detail that comes out regarding the Model 3 Performance, the Model Y Juniper, and the rest of the lineup. So make sure you guys stay subscribed and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already done so. I am also on X or Twitter at HeyJohnE. If you guys want to chat there, DM me, tweet me, whatever it may be. I will respond to you much quicker than I would here. This should be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This is John once again. Peace out.